What's up, everyone? Here to do Hunter x Hunter 126, and I finally had to do a review again just because I have a little bit of extra time now and I can actually start making reviews. But, anyways, this week's episode, oh my gosh, it was really well done. It was really well done, and I must say, just because I haven't made reviews in a while, I'm not gonna lie, for a second, I really didn't like where this arc was going. I just really didn't. And honestly, a couple of events that happened, like the whole thing with Yuppie and Knuckle, I didn't know how I felt about that. Um, there was the whole thing with Sheepoof also. I wasn't too sure about that and how I felt. But anyways, this was definitely by far one of the best moments so far in the Hunter x Hunter series. Just seeing their fight and just seeing Netero pretty much struggle by just barely scratching this guy and or to barely scratch him. So yeah, it was very interesting. I freaking loved it. Um I really don't know what else to say just because it was such a good episode, and it's definitely probably my favorite episode so far, 2014 in anime. But there is one that's close to it, which I will say Magi is pretty close, but I don't know just because of how deep the characters are. But, anyways, I'm going to get into the review though. So the episode starts off with King and Netero just going at it, and Netero's just pushing him off, and the king just obviously keeps on attacking. And as he's attacking Netero, he starts to notice that he can like sense his emotions, and the only thing he can see is his after image, but he can see his admiration, or I'm sorry, he can see his resolve, and he's feeling some sort of admiration towards him. And he thinks about it, and he pretty much calls out how Netero got his ability. And he said at one point he was on the brink of madness, and after Netero gives him a pretty nice attack, the king just walks out unscathed, and he disrespectfully praises him like what he did was nothing. And that's when Netero says that an insect should never look down on a human, and he starts to attack, and he notices the king switches up a little bit, and he changes his attack pattern, and he's like bouncing around everywhere, and he's just gonna keep constantly attacking. He's thinking of it in a similar way as you would play Goonji, because eventually if you try enough combinations you're going to run out of options, or you're going to be biased towards certain moves, and he can predict his pattern. So Netero is talking in his head, or his inner dialogue, just saying that he knows what the king is thinking, that eventually he will break down and he won't be able to attack him. But Netero says that he has a trick up his sleeve called the Zero Hand, which we obviously find out what that is. But the king is actually starting to feel a dull pain, and that's when he finally gets Netero's right leg. And immediately after, the king says, "You've done well for a human," and he praises him, saying he sees his admiration. But Netero says, "Don't make me laugh. We're just getting started." And that's when the king also says that it was inevitable to get his leg, and he's gonna take his right arm next, and because he's learned the art of anticipation. So that's when Netero says this is his last attack, and they start going at it. And the narrator says they throw something like 1,000 punches, and they said that the fight only lasted a minute after, and there was obviously a lot that went on after. So this was pretty fast, but the king actually gets his left arm and finally is finding flaws in Netero. And right after he takes his arm, he just sits down and says, "Is that enough? Have you had enough? Tell me my name." And that's when Netero says that you don't think that I can pray with one hand. And that's when he breaks out his trump card, Zero Hand, that appears behind the enemy. And he put all of his aura into this one blast of light, and that's what Killua actually sensed. So after doing all of this, Netero just turns into an old man because he is like older than 115 or something like that. So yeah, it was just definitely interesting that he would do that so easily. But man, I'd have to say I was so surprised that he was so unscathed. Like I feel like the king was somewhat hurt, but like not really. Like there were no fatal injuries or anything like that. So he never even stood a chance, it seemed like. But after that, the king just goes on his little rant talking about he was born to be king. He's just a human. That's the limit to an individual strength. But he does show him respect by telling him that was a really nice attack and stuff. But man, then you have the main fruits of the episode. Netero just laugh, or Netero, actually finally tells Miriam his name, and he just tells him that he doesn't know anything about humans and their strength is infinite, and he just lets off this aura that man has him frightened. And like he said, we actually saw the king with fear in his face for the first time ever. So it was definitely interesting, and I have to say, this is probably one of my favorite deaths that I've seen so far in animation. Like, it was just so well done. He went out like a boss. I just have to say, it was really well done. I like how they did it. And I also like that it seemed like they fit a few chapters into the episode, because this fight, it was a lot faster than what I thought it was going to be. I'm not going to lie, but it was over pretty quickly. And yeah, that's all I have. Let me know what you guys think, because I obviously thought it was a pretty good episode. But yeah, anyways, that's all I have, and thanks.